First of all, I think there is an awareness and an agreement amongst the House, at least amongst the contributors, that there is a significant problem here, and that citizens who can least afford it are carrying a significant burden that they shouldn't be carrying. Unfortunately, what we've got from the government is a nebulous, maybe have a look into it, review the situation, think about it for a little bit longer. So on one weighing scale, you have a crisis in many people's lives who are suffering life and death situation. And on the next side of the weighing scale, you have a government with no real intent to do anything about this at all. And if we're brutally honest with each other, and we should be brutally honest with each other here, Minister, we shouldn't mess with people's minds when it comes to this kind of stuff. There's no intent in the government to grasp this nettle in any way at all. And there's no intent in the government to back this bill either. If this bill doesn't make it through, we will be going into the next election in 2, 3 or 4 years' time with people putting this issue on their manifestos again and going to the people knocking on the doors saying, we will do this. I always think it's funny when a political party is speaking before an election, they know the problem and they know the solutions. And then when they get into government, they have to do a review about it. They have to do a study into it. They have to work it out. I listened to Minister McEntee on the radio talking about the review and the study that they're doing in relation to the accommodation for women suffering from domestic violence. Everybody, you don't need a review to tell you the problem. The problem is as plain as the nose in your face. And it's known for years. A review is a method not to do something. It is a form of political procrastination. It is a strategy for inertia. And it's written right over this government in so many ways. And it's a major pity. As I said in the other debate around the cost of living, the only thing warm in this country at the moment is the government's hands, because they're sitting on them so often. And that's the truth. And it's terrible because you have this opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a special opportunity as a minister to actually make a difference. I spoke to a former Fine Gaeler, he was a minister, and he told me that when he went into departments, he was surrounded by people, people with PhDs, people with degrees, masters, people in those departments for years. And they could think of 100 reasons why something shouldn't be done. 100 reasons. But nothing changes if people think of 100 reasons why something shouldn't be done. The people who make a difference are not the people who think of reasons why something can't or may not or should not happen. The people who actually change things are the people who forget about those issues and find solutions every time they need it. And this bill may not be perfect. I believe it's a very good bill, and I believe a lot of the rhetoric I heard in relation to, well, this problem could arise and that problem could arise, I don't believe that's real at all, to be honest. I don't believe it's real, because the 3-hour limit to this parking issue does not allow for a free-for-all in car parking. The technology exists to map people, to measure people's use of car parks, etc. People may have to get their tickets stamped at the reception desk within the department of the hospital they're attending to make sure that they're being in use. There's loads of reasons. Things are changed by people who can find solutions. Anyway, just one other point, or a couple of other points I want to make on this. There are third-party organisations, for sure, which are running car parks under contract from hospitals. But sure, the M3 has been run by a private company under contract for public use. Every time there isn't enough cars going through the toll in the M3, the government puts its hands in the pockets and gives it to the company. That's how it works. If you want to get a public-private partnership and there's a contract made, the government normally goes into some kind of arrangement to say if there's a fall-off in the income coming in one direction, they provide the income in another direction. And if there are contracts already locked in and signed in for 5, 10 years, well, the solution to that is the government making sure that the income fall-off is provided there. There's no doubt about it. And just one other thing, and I don't like bringing my personal experience into the Dáil on a regular basis, But about 2 years ago, I was told by a doctor that I had skin cancer. And I remember the conversation well. I was on the phone, it wasn't in person. And the doctor told me about the length of the lesion, etc., and told me a great deal about it. And I remember distinctly, after about 2 minutes of the doctor talking, he says, "Can I speak to your wife, Pater?" And I said, "Why?" He says, "Because I'm not sure if you're taking it all in." And he was right, I wasn't taking it all in. Now, what we're asking people to do is to have those conversations and then fidget around with their credit card, find a booth, start paying tickets and start getting the hell out of the place in time. And that's not a fair and humane way to treat people who are probably have the darkest cloud of their lives hanging over them on that particular day, who are stunned into confusion and don't know what side is up. And really, the government needs to say to themselves, OK, let's just do this. Let's just fix this. That's a really important issue that people need to look at. This bill can be improved. That's why we have third stage. That's why there's a committee that's in operation that gives an opportunity to the great unwashed in this chamber to go in and try and fix particular bills. And there'll be people coming as long as they're armed with amendments to that bill if it gets to the third stage, which I hope it will. They're the main issues. I think we have to focus on the key issue here. The key issue is the patient. The patient is a person suffering significantly from ill health, many occasions life-threatening, and also suffering from a kick in the shins financially. We have a choice. Wash our hands and say it's not our problem, or help fix it. The choice is yours, Minister.